start. So
start. Okay.
We're live. Whatever
We're
it
live.
means.
So yeah, Mick, what's up? What's the task for today?
Yes. So I will start sharing my screen, the whole screen. I hope I didn't leave any porn open. So for managing the tasks in Pipedrive, we use Jira, as many other companies do. And this is the task that I have picked for today. Where did the task come from, by the way, Anna? Can you tell us a little?
Well, you have to show what we have now.
Okay. So we have a page, but maybe we should even start how we have split up the whole code of Pipedrive and what's the idea. So all in all, this is a task about on a Pipedrive public page, we have some unicorns dancing, and the unicorns should go poof. I don't understand it really. Should there be confetti? So, but in Pipedrive as an application is actually split up into many microservices. Just to give you an idea about how many of them we have, I'm going to open our GitHub page where we have all our code. And you can see that we have 1.5K repositories. So that's more than 1,000.
Archived, but
well, come on, let's brag here. Well, the truth is that we don't have that many services actually running, but because not every repository is a service. But nevertheless, we have about 400 to 500 services running in live. And right now, the task is about doing something on a public page. I will assign it to myself. And the service that we need to work on is called www something main render, this one. So luckily, I don't need to go over all this to like clone it and start it up because I have prepared that for you already. For myself, I should say. So this is the code I have already running locally in my machine. So as we said, Pipedrive consists of, let's say, 400 or so services. There is no way I can actually start all of them locally, but I am able to start some of them so that I can still serve some part of the functionality that is needed. So just to give you a hint how many of them I have right now running. This will just collect them from Docker. All of them are Dockerized. We're actually going right now in live using Kubernetes, but this workstation that I'm right now here using is not using Kubernetes. So not too many actually. Those that have prod are up and running, that are not down, sorry. Anna, you can comment.
Yeah, well, dev also. So prod is actually pulled from some shared containers, pulled into your machine, and the dev mode are the ones that are the code bases on your machine.
Mm-hmm. So about 37 of them I have running right now. And anyways, if everything is good, then let's see.
Is that event still working?
Yes, then I should see this public page served here.
Dev?
Yes, Dev2. It's just like the new version of what we are building. And this is the page that we want to improve. Yes, we have unicorns. But the task was about actually making the unicorns go poof. So we want some confetti to appear from somewhere if we click on the unicorn. So, and this is the file that I already need to modify. So I have picked that already. Let's import a library, which is called confetti. from.
So after a really long search, you found the confetti library and our security team approved it.
Yes.
It doesn't have any secret.
I don't know too much about this library, so let's look at the documentation. Yeah, I know that when I just need to create the confetti, I have this already prepared somewhere here. Then all I need to do is call the confetti function. But let's see if that thing even gets printed to the console of my browser. So here it is. When I click on a unicorn, then the please confetti is written to the console. So this is where it comes from. And the rectangle is an object that I get about the element that was clicked on. So it has left, right, top, width, everything that we need. Oh, I have X and Y also. Anyways, if I just do confetti, that should give me some confetti. I will open up the terminal once again, just to see that it compiles. And yeah, there it is. So if I click now on a unicorn, I get the confetti, but this is not exactly what we want, I think, because if I click on a unicorn here, then the confetti will still come from here. I think it would be better if we also gave it the position and its origin, X and Y. Usually X's and Y's are like absolute units in pixels, but this one, as I understand, is actually 1 for the full width of the screen, meaning that we need to do some calculations. So anyway, what was it called? Origin. Origin X would be then rect left plus, we want it to come from the middle of the rectangle, so rect width divided by 2. And as I said, it's going to be not absolute unit in pixels, but 0 from all the way left and 1 for all the way right. We need to also divide it by window inner width. So that should give us the X coordinate. Let's see if it does work. Yes, it does. So, but the Y is not there yet. Let's just copy and paste it. Anna, can you follow me?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's.
Did it do?
Yeah, I think it works.
Nice. I think it's time to.
Oh, one more thing. I think I don't like the direction of it. I know that this library has this direction thing also. Where is it? Angle. So angle, not origin.
Was it in part of origin? No. Okay.
No. And this angle is also something that we have, but we have some of them turned to the other side. So those that come from the left, and this from left, must have one angle, and the other one should have probably 180 minus this angle, I guess. Let's see. So I broke it.
Did you? It's compiling.
Oh, maybe it's compiling. Yeah. Oh, that works.
Nice.
And that also kind of works. Not exactly. I think that has to be a minus. Because those that go upwards need to go upwards. Yes, now it's working. So I'm happy with the result right now. I will remove this. I will close it up and commit it to Git. First off, I will also make sure that the build actually succeeds. So npm run build. And then I will create.
Forget the branch.
Yes. So for branchings, we usually use the name of the task inside the name of the branch. That way Jira can tell us that it's, oh, okay, I wanted to name it something different, but let's keep it that way then. And we'll just commit it. Oh, compilation at least succeeded. So that's a good thing.
Something.
Yeah, because why I tested this, because I have had this issue before that you somehow it works in your dev mode, but when you start to compile it for the production, then it fails.
Yeah,
so
we have lots of pre-commit hooks as well. Like you can see linting and testing. It's mostly because we have more than 300 developers, and if this service owner specified rules, then we should follow it as well. So, for example, we've never developed in this project, so we don't know their code standards. It's good that it's run on every commit, and we can make sure that the code owners will be happy.
So once I have this thing done, I push it, push the branch. We'll open this right away to create the pull request. And also, now let's talk about test boxes, I think.
Yeah, how do we test it before we put it to live? Like we don't want to put untested code there.
Because right now I only run some small part of what we had before, like what we had running in our local dev environment. But sometimes there is a bigger branch that we want to deploy, and we just can't fit it into our dev environment. For that, we have test boxes, which are live-like environments that we can actually create on demand, and then deploy some parts of the code or switch out some of the services.
They usually die in about 4 hours, and then they're prepared to be assigned to some new task. So it only has some core services and what you added here.
So right now what I'm doing is I'm actually redeploying the branch that I pushed to the test box that I already have of this service, and then it's going to deploy. And this whole setup is very like to the live environment that we have. So for instance, here we can open up the whole Pipedrive application. I need some users also. So
users are pre-generated for us, so we don't have to do anything.
So I can log. Yeah.
We can only access it from our internal web, so through a VPN, for example.
Most of
so you can't go there.
Most of what we do is actually behind VPN, of course. So, but this is, as you can see, this is like a real product here, but it's not live. So it's test box. We can play around. We can deploy stuff here. It's a really useful thing because it has mostly all the services deployed actually. So it's like a real live environment.
How far are we with the deploy?
Let's see. So as for deploying, we actually in the background, we are using Jenkins. So this is the deploy or the Jenkins of that is used also for test boxes. And this is our job here. We can see what it does.
It pulls some GitHub code and it builds it and then deploys it to the servers in M3 in Tallinn office tower.
Yes, and as in live, we have lots of other tools that we use. So for instance, we have Graylog. I think that's one of the most important ones because that's for logging. That's where if anything is wrong with your service, you get some information that there is something wrong with it. Let it load. The front end of Graylog is pretty heavy. I think it's actually that. So this is the region of our deskbox, and we can see what goes on there about all the services, of course. So for instance,
in live, it's the same. So if a user encounters some error, it's logged here, and if they report it to support, then we can go and by their user ID and company ID, we can find the logs and hopefully fix the problem.
So yeah, all this is really live-like.
Yeah, we have alerting set up for these logs as well. So for example, if we have more than 10 errors in 10 minutes, then on-call person is being called even at night.
So what else do we have here? We have back office. That's actually a cool thing to show. We have a tool which is really important actually. How can I find my company?
Based on user, copy the user.
Let's copy it by the user. So the back office is similar to what we have actually. I mean, it's not even similar. It's the same thing actually deployed to Deskbox that we have in live, but it's just not in the same environment. So here we can see stuff about a specific company, what features it has, and so forth. It's mostly used for mostly used by actually support engineers, not by developers that much. But of course, developers also need to tune into back office sometimes.
We use the most the feature flag. So if you want to enable some feature in live, it's behind feature flag. So we enable them here.
So we don't have all the features enabled for all the companies. Some of them are work in progress. That's mostly the reason why we.
Yeah, and some are available on higher plans.
Yes. Is there anything else we want to show about back office?
Yeah, well, we have plugins, but they don't work in Deskbox. You have to deploy the service. We can make calls to our service containers through our back office.
Then there is important thing, which is console. I think it's important to mention that we have it, which is basically a key value store that is used for serving or storing all sorts of information about services that they need. And also we have service discovery actually built on top of it. So yeah, there are like keys and values here. What else should we? Well, console also tracks the service's health.
How is our service doing?
Yeah, that's a good point. What was it called? Main renderer. So it's something ongoing.
It's being deployed, so it's not up yet.
The other instance is still up, but the new one isn't up yet. The one being deployed. What else do we have? We have Kubernetes workstation, or not workstation, Kubernetes dashboard. And this is also what we have now in live. We used to have a Docker Swarm, but not long ago, we migrated everything to Kubernetes. So everything runs on Kubernetes. Here we can also find our service. We should be able to do it. Yeah, here it is. Now it's in, what about 20 hours? Oh, it's deployment. Yeah, we're looking for bots. Yeah.
And we can restart containers here if they're acting bad. We usually have multiple instances, so it starts a new one before it actually stops the previous one. So there's no issue in live that no service can serve the call.
So there are some other tools linked here, but not even all of them that we have actually. We have even more tools. But anyways,
live, yeah.
I see in Kubernetes that it actually got green, so it's deployed now. We can check it out here. I'll log out myself.
Because we have a public page.
So I think it's called Võti this time.
It has, click on the Pipedrive.
Oh, that's like here.
Yeah, just change it to Võti 2 later.
Yeah.
I think you need to use the Võti 2.
Yeah, you're right about that. I just know that if I don't attach the right, oh, there it is. And we have confetti.
Works.
So it's
nice. Okay, I think it's time to put it live. I already did a code review for you, and I see in test books that it works.
So there is one thing that this demo is not, showing as it happens in real life is that I don't have a Slack open, which is unreal. Actually, most of the communication that we have is going on in Slack, and usually I ping people or teams to then approve and review my stuff in Slack. So, but we have it deployable, I guess. I will just double check it myself. What did we actually do then? Oh, I also made just this chain. Seems good. So we trigger deployments by just attaching a label in a GitHub commit or GitHub pull request. And then we have a specific tool once again that then starts deploying this thing. What is it called? It's called Rocket. So this, what we are showing right now, I'm even going to close up all the others. This one no more is anything for testing only. This is our actual tool that we use for deploying live. And what I'm right now doing is also deploying the change that we did to actual Pipedrive live.
So that's how we actually do it. If we have even the smallest change, like change translation, then we do a pull request for this one line of code and we trigger deploy to live. It's one of the perks of having microservices. So everything can be deployed independently and we don't have to do big releases. The fun fact about it is that we do about 500 live deploys every week. So it's about 100 or more a day.
Yes, I can have a sneak peek of what it looks like without the filter attached. So these are the ongoing or recent and ongoing deployments. So there are like 4 of them ongoing, or 3 actually. This one failed. Some of them are in the middle of being deployed, or they're deployed in one region, but not to others. And yeah, one more ongoing and a few more, like all of them are.
Yeah, until now, we had 2 regions in US and EU. So each company was in one of those regions, the closest one to them when the company was created. So it's basically to have faster communication with Pipedrive and not to have a lot of stuff in one data center. Because if one data center goes down, at least the other one works, right? And yeah, until lately, we introduced a third one. As you can see here, the FRA 2, and it's full status for stability. We only have a few companies there. As you can see, we deploy first to FRA 2, and only in 2 hours we deploy to others if no incidents happen. It seems that we don't have any ongoing incidents. Otherwise, we would see post components on top.
There is actually one post, but
it's for testing.
Yes.
It's boring. Nothing is broken. I was hoping something is broken.
Well, there is a functional test at least failing. Then if it does fail, then you have to dig in and see why it fails. Like it's someone else.
Yeah.
Functional test.
But it's not our problem. We didn't break it.
Yes. But that's actually one cool fact about Pipedrive, that everything is open to everybody. So everybody is welcome and encouraged to even review or look at what others are doing. Of course, there is so much going on. We have, I think, 350 engineers about. I think that's the number.
Almost 400 engineers. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on all the time, and you cannot review everybody's code, but basically you're free to open up any repository and do changes there and make the pull request and deploy it.
If the owner approves.
Exactly.
I mean, with this, the service we did changes to it. It's weird that the owner doesn't care. I could approve it, although I'm not the owner. So we can do anything we want to the public page.
You only need 2 developers to do it. One to make the
pull request, the other one to approve your own code. That's for sure.
Yes. So this takes now a while it's deploying. I think it takes for this service about 10 minutes to get to FRA 2. But for most of you, if you want to then just access the live page, we are going to hit the EU Central 1 region, unless you attach some specific header to the GET request that you're making to the server. So yeah, we need to wait for at least 10 or 20 minutes for this to be in live now. But what shall we do meanwhile?
Can show in test box how many services we have.
Maybe
I wonder if we deployed all the services to test box, would your office catch fire?
Probably. So you mean from here?
Yes. Look at this. We can deploy everything from here.
Yeah, and lots of them are actually deployed. Can we somehow even?
All.
I'm pretty sure all, yes. But does it show the number? I think it doesn't.
No, it's the core service is not that much, I think.
If we add a service, there are also templates that we have made, because many of the features that we deploy or use are actually made of multiple services, and you don't want to go over and deploy tens of services. Then you have some templates already here that then add a bunch of services, something like that. Add services, yeah. I'm not going to deploy them to our test box.
Oh, another cool thing about Raket, if something did go wrong and you broke everything in live, there's an option to roll back from here.
Yes.
So, well, here it's only cancel after it's deployed. So it will be a pretty fast one. It will just take the previous container, it's already built, and it will deploy it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of having everything Dockerized.
I think that's what I like in Pipedrive as well. Like we build our own product. That means we have a lot of tools that are to help ourselves. So one is the one that showed is the dev environment. Like we don't have to do much anything. We just start up all the services and they work most of the time. It takes quite a lot of resources, but works out good. So
we should also maybe check out Grafana.
Grafana.
Or even maybe just Greylog. I mean, even not only for the demo purposes, but because we might actually break something here. And then it's good that if we have
but we're not the owners.
Greylog or Grafana opened, where we actually track the metrics of that specific service. Not that Grafana, or not that Greylog is always used for metrics, but let's just see, because Greylog is mostly for logs. For metrics, mostly we use Prometheus. Yeah. What was it called?
Who knows?
It has such a www main renderer. Render there. So there is something going on.
So we don't have too many companies in this region just yet. So
yeah, that's true. So level stands for the log level. 4 is
severity.
Warning. Yes, and 3 would be error. There seems to be no errors right now, at least in this region. So Anna, what shall we do while we deploy? I think that was the question we got had unanswered when we were preparing for this.
No, we did. Let's go to mission tool.
Oh, mission tool. Okay. What is this about?
Okay. So how we work actually in Pipedrive on the organization level. So
as teams.
As teams, but we're not called teams. We're called tribes. And each tribe is responsible for some area in Pipedrive. Like in Tartu location, we have billing tribe that's responsible for getting money from our from our customers. Then we have Tartu tribe that's responsible for the customer's identity or passwords and security and so on and so on. And then I am part of Riga's tribe, which is actually Tartu location tribe, but it's complicated. And Riga's tribe is building the new email marketing app. And maybe you can show the Riga's here.
Riga's, can I click on it?
Yeah, sure. And what's happening here is some people are on missions, and missions are a focused project. So say we have a scope, fixed deadline. As you can see, we try to deliver by that deadline. And all the people who are on the mission, they only care about the mission topics, so to say. And everyone else who's not on a mission, the blank rectangles, they are on the launch pad. And on the launch pad, they deal with maintaining the areas of code that we own. So for example, bug fixes or small features. So people on mission don't have to care about if there's a bug coming in from live. They can do their thing. Yeah, that's how we roll. We can join other tribes' missions as well. If I'm interested in, for example, yeah, sales tribe is doing, I don't know, but okay, core tribe is building a next framework for Node.js. And I really think I can contribute, so I will put interested there. It was the first one.
The first one, this one.
Yeah, they're building a new framework because we have two and we couldn't decide which one to use. So we'll building a third one. Makes sense.
Yeah, for each mission we have some documentation or the card or whatever. This is not actually called mission card. Mission card is a specific term in our vocabulary, but information about mission basically in the standard way.
Slim sounds like they're building some cigarettes for us, some Slims. So
anyway, like each basically in engineering, Pipedrive is really free to do what they want to do, like join any mission they want and even come up with an idea for a mission and then pitch it. But as we mentioned before, we have so many engineers already that it's important to have a tool like this, which is the mission tool, which helps us have some overview of what is going on in the organization.
Yeah. Who's available, who's not.
What else do we have here? We have statistics, which is a Grafana board, which is just like statistics about the whole organization, engineers and missions.
How many are on missions? How many are doing nothing? I mean, in Launchpad. How far is the deploy?
Let's look at it.
So usually what we do while we deploy, because it takes so much time, we just take a cup of coffee and go play table tennis, but it's pandemic times and we're not allowed to do that.
So it's actually succeeded in fraud 2. But as I said, if I just go to now our public page, I probably won't hit the fraud 2. It depends on the service also, but this time as this service is the public page, where is my bracket here? Then I probably wouldn't hit the public page fraud 2 right now. I would hit EU Central 1. But what I can do, and I have prepared that already, is that I can set some specific header, which is PD route 2, and say that I want to be routed to this data center. And if I do that, then I can actually see these unicorns change in fraud 2.
I'll trigger it to other environments as well. So maybe our guests can play soon as well.
Oh, let's double check. So if I go pipedrive.com, chasing unicorns. So right now I should be getting to fraud 2. I can even, I can check it by the confetti.
Are there confettis? Yes.
There is confettis. But if I now turn this header overriding on off, then I should be getting probably to EU. That's the case. We can actually track it from the headers also. But yeah, we know by the confetti actually that this is the case. 404. Oh, is the first call to this that gets redirected, I think.
I think it redirects based on the language.
We have body header here.
It's response header. I think request is the next one. Request headers.
Yeah, I was just thinking that do we have the data center in the response headers? But we do.
I think it should be in.
We have body, but it's only for Pipedrive when you're logged in. Then we know it from here. So right now for the public page, you don't even know in which data center you're directed to. I only know it by the confetti.
Trigger.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks so much more fun now.
But it seems that we didn't break anything, at least for now. Entry, no found request. Oh, this is actually our request. So this is
maybe that's the redirect.
Yes.
It's level 4, it's warning.
Yeah, that's true. We should ignore it. No, but well, truth to be told, it only happens on our page, so I guess it will be fine. But that's actually something that we need to look into later on.
Yeah, we'll fix it. We'll create a bug task for that.
But usually, I mean, this is something that we wouldn't encourage anyone to do, but as we want this confetti to also show up for everybody else sooner, then I will force deployment to other regions. Okay,
another fun fact, this was put to 2 hours just today.
Yes, it was 10 minutes before. Well, this is like the new norm now, but the new data center, the primary data center, the Infra 2 is something that hasn't been there for a long time in Pipedrive. But yeah, right now we have 4 data centers. Management is actually for only Pipedrive internal tools, basically. For instance, mission tools is in management region, but those other 3 are the main regions for actual Pipedrive applications and customer data and so forth. So is there something else, Anna?
No.
We have mission tool.
Mission tool? What else do we use? We use Confluence, but that's confidential.
Is it? Which part of it is confidential?
A minute.
Let's go to the
delivery, of course, at this moment.
I was just wondering if we can start taking questions, because if there will be questions, then we can definitely talk about something else. We did expect it to take longer, right?
Yeah, it's like the best case scenario that came to life.
Yes, nothing was broken so far.
We're expecting it will take at least half an hour more. It's like, why nothing goes wrong when you want it to go wrong?
Yesterday when we tried it, then everything went wrong.
Yeah.
The dev environment was broken. But we do have questions. Maybe we should start taking the questions, because we can then
show more there.
Because while I was talking, I also felt that I could talk about many other things if only somebody asked. So where's this? Oh, it's here. So this is, I mean, I have 2 views here. This is the right one that I want to use, right?
Oh, support engineer teams. Can you select it, or how does it work?
Yeah, I haven't worked with Slido. Let's see how it works. I have this full screen option, but can I select that I want to now answer this question? Maybe someone can help me with this.
Yeah. But if you do full screen, then you have to come out of it.
Then I'm in the full screen, which doesn't help.
But if you select one on keyboard,
One.
okay, let's just take them, I guess.
Maybe we can scroll them, so later on we can still go through all of them. That's actually a funny thing. I'm just wondering, how should we do it? Okay, you can try to open it yourself. But so how many years of experience do you need to have to join support engineer team? That's a good question, but I don't think to work as a support engineer, you definitely need to have some experience, but I'm not sure if it's always measured by years. It's you need to have basic understanding of something engineering wise, or how the application is set up. It's good to have like some knowledge about databases. We use MySQL for most of the customers' data. And support engineers are actually the ones who dig that data mostly. As a developer, I don't even have access to the live database, but only if I explicitly ask it for a specific case, but the support engineers do have. But just a small notice also here is that support engineers are not the first ones who get to work with the customers. We have support team in front of them who deal with most of the cases, and then only those that need to have some engineer basically involved, then we are those requests directed to support engineers. So Anna, how would you overall answer this question?
If you look at the level wise, like how many years experience, it also varies from time to time in Pipedrive with all the roles, right? So at some point we are looking more for seniors because we don't have enough power to teach juniors. And then at the moment, for example, at least in engineering, I don't know how it's in support engineering, but in engineering, we're more looking for juniors and interns now because we have more seniors, so we can teach the younger generation to code. Oh, not younger necessarily in age, but in engineering experience. So we're engineers, so we're more to that as well. What you looking at?
I'm a little concerned that I can't select those questions, because if we have more, for instance, right now I feel that we have answered this one, but I can't select it.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you can ping Quilly and ask how we should do it. So I'll take the next question. I hope this one got answered. At this point, I think we don't have much more prepared. So if you feel that you're the one who asked the question, and if you feel that we didn't answer it, then feel free to unmute yourself and ask a follow-up question. So I will take the next one. I saw that you are hiring only software developer interns this year. Is it any way possible to be analytic project manager, product owner, intern as well? I definitely think that is the case, because all in all, Pipedrive will grow not only engineering wise. And so, yes, I think, for sure we are going to hire product owners, product managers is how we call them. Even for the simplest reason that we have someone leaving, then we need to backfill those people, but also we plan to grow. As for being an intern, I think there is no limits to that either. So I haven't heard that we only hire senior product owners. So definitely that is the case. Just reach out.
It's again depending on the time, like every month new positions come up, and when we have hired product managers, more senior ones, then we usually hire someone more junior or intern. I don't know if intern, but juniors usually we do hire. But we didn't have many interns in engineering as well before this year, so it's all changing.
Are you offering an internship in sales department? Can you
I think
answer that?
these are all the same questions. Like we are both from engineering side, so we can't answer for sure what's happening in other departments. But we know we are opening more and more roles up, so it's a possibility, and you should just reach out. It's always like that. If we don't have a position for you right away, you're put on in this contact later pile, and it's always possible to join later.
So the last one is pretty simple question. Are you looking for React.js developers? Most of our front end is React.js. So yes, the answer is sure, for sure.
So yeah, if we talk about things we use to develop in Pipedrive, as you saw, we have a lot of microservices, and it doesn't matter in which language you actually write this service. And that's the case if you go on a mission, for example, and you need to build a new service, then you can agree with your team in which language you want to write it. There's no limitations to that. But there's a but. For backend, we usually use Node.js because we have those frameworks that do basically everything for you. You just put this framework start and it pulls up the container for you. You import DB and it does all the connection stuff for you. It asks for credentials from the console. So you don't have to worry about anything. And the same goes with front end. Anything you want, you can choose, but we have libraries for React components. So you can just import a button from our convention UI and it's already in Pipedrive green color. And it's also about knowledge sharing as well, right? So if you build it in some language that no one knows about, then no one can help you as well, and no one will want to work on your service. So Node.js and React is a safe bet. But we have some public pages in Vue, for example.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would also add that I think it's getting a little more stricter now about what are the technologies that we use in Pipedrive. It's not that we are not picking any new technologies all the time, but it used to be so that developers used to be really free to choose any technology for any project. But right now, I have the feeling that we want to make it a little stricter because we don't want to support, for instance, too many languages. We right now have JavaScript, we have PHP, we have Golang, well, TypeScript also. TypeScript counts as JavaScript. And what else do we have? No, we have a few more others, but those are the ones that we don't even want to support any further. So yeah.
But from hiring perspective, we usually don't care about what experience the person has, as long as they have this programming thinking and the experience.
Problematic thinking. What was the word?
Yeah. Problematic thinking, yes. And the cultural fit is really important one, because if we don't click, it's a no-go. And you wouldn't like working with us as well, because we make weird jokes.
Yes. And I also, when I joined Pipedrive, I also thought that JavaScript is latest language. So, I mean, I didn't consider it as a real thing, but it turns out to be actually, right now, I think one of the, I would choose it again. I mean, the language itself. So I was also from background, mostly writing Java.
Yeah.
So there are more questions. But oh, we can scroll.
Nice.
Latest question. How did that come here?
Yeah.
Oh, it's latest. It's just like latest. I understand. But we can scroll. So how did you decide? But now I should probably order them by recent or something like that. Oldest. Okay. Because otherwise we mess up. Let's see. So
yep. Good order.
Which way should I go now?
From top to the bottom. Good. Let it be. Otherwise, we'll mess it up.
Do you know which one is next?
Rebecca, hey, how did you decide? Next one.
This one. Okay, yeah. This one. So how did you decide what you wanted to study and what led you guys to this position you are working in at the moment? Anna, go on.
Sure. So I didn't start with programming. So I come from Rakvere. So we don't know much about programming in Rakvere. Our computer science classes were like, here's an Excel sheet and add some columns together. And that's what it's about it. I liked it. I liked computers and so on, but I never imagined that programming could be something that I would do because it seemed like magic, like you know, matrix and stuff. So I went to study mathematics. Actually, I wanted to be some insurance mathematician, something seemed like a good plan. But then first semester into maths, the programming courses were mandatory. So I started learning Python and I really love logical problems and it was so logical. I really loved it. Like you can do recursion and you can make the arrow move and I could make a snake game. And at that point, like the first semester snake game, it also seemed like the most hard thing to do. Like how do you make it move? How do you know where it is? What's happening? So I really got to love the code. And at that point, I decided I'm gonna switch to computer science. Where did the questions go? Okay.
Sorry, I will just double check that we have our service in live and everything is working. So it's there. Let's just double check that it's working.
Okay, yeah. And yeah, I switched to computer science. I could transfer some credits already because we studied some courses already in maths. So that was nice. I didn't have to do a full year because of that. And yeah, that's how I did it. But yeah, when I got the first job, you still kind of realize that the things you learn in computer science, it doesn't prepare you too much for the real life world. I didn't know anything about how to get code live, for example, or stuff like that. The actual experience was missing. Yeah. And Mick, you want to talk about your experience?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I don't have much experience in that sense that when I started my professional career already some time ago, then I somehow became a developer. I already started coding when I was a young boy, not that young, but you know, when I was still studying in high school, and then when I went to university, I actually wanted to go to study economics, but somehow I didn't get into the school where I wanted to go, although I had really good grades. And then my second option for some reason was to go to IT college, which I did. And that's where it started basically. Or then at some point I realized that yeah, this is what I enjoy doing. Right now, I wouldn't want to be I mean, I wouldn't imagine myself doing anything else because I also like actually building stuff. And yeah, as a developer, you're able to start something from the scratch or actually build or make something happen. Basically, this is how I feel it. So that's why I like this where I am right now. But yeah, as overall, I've been doing it for my whole life, basically, or a whole professional career. So I don't know much how to put it.
Yeah, I just started less than 10 years ago, but it's already so much time has passed. I've worked like as a developer for almost 6 years. Time flies. It's so weird to think about it. I'm so old. Yeah. Next one? Or
When will the internship start? Is it possible to intern as a fresh graduate? As for when, I guess it's like constantly ongoing. It's just we have some processing, so you can't start tomorrow, but you can definitely fill in a form today and then maybe get the call tomorrow and come to the interview next week or something like that. And is it possible to intern as a fresh graduate? For sure, yes.
like we said, it's for an internship, we don't expect too much, we need that sparkle in your eye that you really want to learn, and you want to learn from us. You're motivated, and you know some basic lines of code, right? So even if you need to Google the JavaScript methods, it's fine.
Well, this is fine even for a senior.
Yeah, it's even fine for me. I do that all the time. You forget to use something, and yeah,
yes,
for senior,
but I wanted to say about the sparkle in your eyes, because as in Pipedrive, as we have said already many times, an engineer is really free to do whatever they want to do. But at the same time, we expect people to basically do their job, whatever it is, but to kind of be useful to the company. So yes, that's what we are after, actually. It's not about the level that much. If you're into what you want to do and you want to become better, then you're all welcome.
Yeah, and you have lots of growth potential in Pipedrive, even if you land a lower like intern job or low junior job. If you have potential, you will get promoted pretty fast. We have really good feedback loops, so you will be noticed. If you care, if you're dedicated, you will be noticed. And I guess for timing, yeah, before we only had internship for master's students working with Tartu University, at least in Tartu. But now we're working on a all-year internship program, and I think it's launching about now. We should have something already. So
how much experience did you have before landing a job at Pipedrive? I think it's kind of the same question, or I guess I answered it already. So for me, it was quite a long period, 15 years or so.
You're so old.
I'm old, yeah, that's the thing. That's how you get the experience, you get old.
Yeah, well, for me, I first started working at another company. So I joined a company that had lots of different projects rolling in. So you could work on different things all the time. It kind of was tempting at the time. And then after 3 years, I started to think, yeah, so I noticed Pipedrive, and Pipedrive is only working on one product. And I was like, okay, but it would be also pretty cool to be kind of responsible for one thing. You're responsible for the success of the whole product. And that's how it has been.
But as for newcomers, I mean, what's like the level? I was just thinking that we have some success stories of people who only started maybe 3 years ago and are now already working as seniors. So
yeah,
there are
well,
guys like that also.
I had 3 years in another company, and then it took me 1.5 or a bit more to become senior in Pipedrive. Because I was senior in Pipedrive context because yes, not so much because I know so much about JavaScript, but more because I was interested in pulling Pipedrive forward, and I care about our users and what happens to our code. So there's many opportunities for that.
How much should one know about Pipedrive in general when applying? Are specific skills more valued, and how well is business structure taught during onboarding? What exactly is business structure? But overall, I would answer that you don't need to know anything about Pipedrive. That's one of the cool things I feel about Pipedrive as an engineer, is that if you don't like the product or if you don't like something about it, you're welcome to join and make it better. So it's not that you don't like it and you're not welcome. I have felt this kind of thing in many other companies, but not here in Pipedrive. So you don't need to know about it, and we will teach what you have to know about it for sure. But what about the business structure? What would you say about that, Anna?
We have pretty cool onboarding. I mean, it's not so cool during pandemic because it's remote, but usually when the corona was not here, we would have 2 weeks in Tallinn, all expenses paid. I could stay at a hotel that had a nice spa. And yeah, and during that onboarding, we were taught about Pipedrive, what Pipedrive does, the history of Pipedrive, what are the values of Pipedrive's business side, and then we started onboarding into how people work, how engineering works, the structure, everything you get during those weeks. Of course, it's information overdose and you forget half of the things, but then you relearn during the actual work time. And how much you need to know about Pipedrive, it would be nice to know at least what Pipedrive does on a higher level. Like if you don't use it, of course you don't know too much about it, but at least the specific things, what problems we try to solve.
What do you mean by that? That we are a sales tool for?
Yeah, that we're a sales tool for a salesperson, and we drive salespersons to take ownership of their activities, for example.
Well, that's already too much. I guess I didn't know when I was joining. I mean, I knew that it was a sales tool, but I didn't know anything about, I didn't know more specific anything about it.
I didn't know because I was hunted. So I didn't have to sell, the Pipedrive had to sell.
Yeah, but nevertheless, I'm saying that it's not the necessity. It's that you don't need to know about that. I mean, we don't expect any engineers to know about these things. Mm-hmm. We expect them to know something about engineering. And even if you don't know anything about the engineering, you're welcome to join and learn how we are doing stuff, or this is how we are, what we are doing here right now also. Just showing some sneak peeks into our daily life, because this is, although we went through this whole structure pretty quickly, this is actually how we do our job. I mean, that we open up a code, we do some changes to it. I just realized that confetti actually is not on top of everything, and it's not that nice. So I put set index 1000. Let's deploy it after this call. Should we also share this now?
Yeah.
The link. Where is the chat?
What chat? I can share as well.
I will share. Then
Fine.
I will share. I was first. Any other questions? I assume that we know everything. We can answer all our questions. What would you ask? Nice. By the way, I didn't test the confetti on any other browser than Chrome right now. I'm not sure if it works everywhere.
So yeah, if you find a bug, report it in Slido. We'll create a task. Okay.
We have about 15 more minutes planned for this, so go on, ask questions. You can even unmute yourself if you're like brave enough. Is there something else we could show?
Do we know who the oldest employee is? Usually pretty.
Oh, no, the question started to fly, or was it the slider thing?
I don't know.
We got the new question, but I was just wondering. I saw them moving around.
Maybe it just slided over or something.
Yeah, maybe. So we got a new question.
Mm-hmm.
Does a newbie get the mentor assigned to them? Yes, sometimes even two. Yes. And
so we have
if you're more experienced, then you're free to become a mentor yourself. And even if you aren't that much experienced, I mean, once you get, yeah, go on, Anna.
We have a buddy system. That's one thing, right? So if when you join, you get a buddy, and buddy will show you around, and you can ask them anything. Where's the coffee? How to, I don't know, where do I throw this bottle? And he's more of this kind of go-to guy or girl. Yes. And I don't know, in other locations, we revamped the onboarding in Tartu. So you also get assigned a mentor who will work with you closely for 1 or 2 weeks after the general onboarding. where you solve tasks in pair programming. You get to know the environments, how to spin up all those services, how to troubleshoot, also where to find the code style guidelines, how to set up terminals. For example, you saw maybe Mick had all those Git commands there, and you could also see a branch. So we helped set up all of that.
Yes. And also the onboarding actually is, well, the best that I have experienced. So
I don't have that much experience. Like it's my second.
it's true that the COVID times probably have changed something. So I'm not entirely sure how it's ongoing, how it goes right now when we have everything online, basically.
I think during onboarding, you can only come to the office once during general onboarding, or actually, no, you can already come to the office, right?
Yes, but we're not allowed to gather here anymore, starting from yesterday.
In Tallinn.
How in Tartu you are?
I don't know, I'm in the home office.
I guess it was the same for Tartu.
Yeah. I really want it to be over. I want to travel to Tallinn. Although we have an interview.
I could answer. I could ask a question myself here. From Anna.
I have a question, if you don't mind. It's kind of long, too long to type in that box on.
No problem. Go on.
It kept telling me, no, you don't have enough words left. So anyway, I have a degree already in software development, but I've never done it as a job. I did something else instead. More recently, I've done online courses, many different web development courses, and I currently have a remote JavaScript course that I'm doing. What I'm wondering is, should I try for an internship or more junior? Again, I've never done it as a job, though. I just have a lot of study experience.
I think that's something that you do not need to decide on your own. It's just like in the end, well, basically how we internally do it is that we just do some interviews and assign some level in the end to the candidate. But so for ourselves, it's just like an intern is a little lower on level than a junior. But nevertheless, we don't, of course, like from day-to-day life, nobody expects too much from an intern in that sense, but we don't behave any different to people depending on what their title is. So if you're an intern, you're still an engineer and you got all the everything that you have. So all in all, it doesn't matter for which position exactly you apply. If you want to do that, you can just go on and do it, and during the interview, we'll figure out if you should best for junior or intern.
And we won't throw away your application if you think it's a different level. We'll just tell you that, and it's if you're okay with that, then oh, good.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks for the question.
Mm-hmm.
I also have had this issue with Slido that when I type something, I'm the one always asking questions in Slido when we have company update, and I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's always Mick asking and Mick.
But I also get this problem then that my Slido says that I have too many words, or my question is too long. So I was clicking on that.
It's kind of a tip in Pipedrive, like if you don't want to write your name in Slido, you just write Mick.
Yeah, that's a good life hack. I think actually someone did it once. Yes. I mean, it wasn't me, and somebody asked as Mick. I'm the only Mick right now in Pipedrive. Anyways, that's a good question, by the way. The next one we get, can you describe the developer hiring process? Is there a test project? So there used to be a test project some time ago, but now there hasn't been. So how it goes is that we have 3 to 4 rounds of interviews usually, which is quite a lot. but the first interview is basically just for, it's not with an engineer. I mean, even if the person might be an engineer, but they're not there to assess you on an engineering level. They just basically do the first round of interview with you. How even to describe it?
You might ask one question just to understand that you know something about engineering, just a really simple question.
But basically, it's more like a cultural fitting or something like that, as we call it.
Yeah, and talking about Pipedrive as well, how we work. And
then after that, we have another interview, which is then already a technical interview where we do live coding. This is how we do it nowadays, is that you either come to the site or online. We give you some exercises and then you do those exercises. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's not going to be like a really hard exam that you can't look anywhere or anything. It's just you can ask questions, you can ask silly questions, you can make mistakes, you can Google, you can do whatever you want. But nevertheless, it will just give us some idea of what is your level.
Sort of logical thinking and then applying some code language to it. And yeah, yes. You can Google not answers, but I don't know, JavaScript methods, for example. And yeah.
And after that, you already might have an interview with the manager that you're going to have. So basically somebody who will put you into their team. Engineering manager, yes. Although that's actually a separate topic that in Pipedrive, I don't feel that we have that many managers or the organization is really flat. Especially as an engineer, you don't feel to be managed that much. But nevertheless, we have some kind of structure to it and we have engineering managers. So the next one is going to be with engineering managers. That's the third interview already. And sometimes, depending on, I'm not even entirely sure what's the process right now, but we used to have an interview with the founding father also. So with one of the founders of Pipedrive, but as we don't have that many of them left on the board right now, they're not doing those interviews. But we do have somebody else sometimes doing those interviews. So you might have a fourth interview also, which is not also usually not technical, just an interview with basically somebody who validates something in you. I'm not entirely, I can't even say what they are validating, but
I think engineering manager is now the last one.
So it's 3 interviews.
I think so. Sometimes we have, especially with foreign, or maybe interviewees, we have 15 minutes before the first interview just to assess the English level, if we're not sure.
Mm-hmm. English is important, although it's not important to be perfect with your English. I mean, everybody understands that, but it's all in all, it is an important thing because in Pipedrive, the whole company is actually in English. So
because we work in English, so you have to understand and you have to be understandable.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, but well, for most of the people, it's not the case. But yeah, definitely there are people whose English is not that good, and then it might be a blocker even. Mm-hmm. So there is no test project. What's a question that you would ask in, you mean, maybe you can even unmute to confirm that, so you mean during the technical interview or during the first interview? What question would you, I mean, or Anna, maybe you can answer it without even knowing more context.
If it's about the test interviews, so in the first interview, we talk about your experience, maybe some projects you worked on, something you're proud of, for example. So it's more about you. And in the second interview, we have this test task. It's basically a manipulation of a list. I don't know, find an animal with the most legs, for example, and you have a list of animals and how many legs they have, something like that. And then we ask some general IT questions. So, for example, it depends on the level, of course, but it would be nice to know, I don't know, how internet works, maybe on some general level, how requests goes through from your browser to the server, for example, and maybe some database questions, or what do you do if you want to have data from 2 tables, for example. Yeah, it all depends on the level. And we go to front-end questions. I have a slow front-end. What do you do? I hope that answers.
I have actually been doing those interviews, and I'm not giving you exact questions. I don't even know what the questions are that I'm asking, but there is one thing that I have in mind when I'm validating candidates is that if you think of any bigger organization as Pipedrive is, we have many great engineers here, like hundreds, and it's very, very important. It's like more important to be just a great engineer is to be cooperative. So for instance, what I'm trying to validate is that how well would you manage if your code or what you do is kind of like attacked, or somebody says something bad about it. So how would you react? And something like that is even more important. And do you or like if you're a good engineer, do you, by good I mean if you're an experienced one, do behave like you're the one knowing the right answer or not? So even if you are the one knowing the right answer, then it's very important how you communicate it. Because as I said, we have hundreds of engineers. All of them are experienced, but to come up with a good end result, we need to cooperate somehow. If everybody is a superstar, we just can't do it.
Yeah, cultural fit is one of the most important things. So from engineering side, for example, those questions, it's always fine that you don't know the answers. I don't know all the answers to all the questions in that list that we have, and it's all fine. The most important for us is that your cultural fit, that we would get along, that we could make some jokes in the sauna together, for example, and that you don't ruin anyone's day, and you don't let your day to be ruined by silly jokes. And
so we have a few more questions. What is the best thing about working at Pipedrive? Anna, you want to answer?
Well, it's always the people, right? So, I mean, for you, it's that the second floor is closed, right? In Tartu, our main area is on 16th floor, and we gather there a lot. So if when we get coffee, there's always people, and we start talking, and then we look at the clock, it's an hour later, and we think we should get back to work, and no one cares about that. As long as your job is done, we don't work from clock to clock. We talk a lot, we communicate, we solve the problems in the kitchen, we bring sweets to each other, and yeah, we care, we help out for them.
I think for me, well, it's of course what you just said is also true, but for me, I think I already said it, is that I don't feel like being managed. That's really important for me. I feel like I'm in charge. I'm kind of like free to do whatever I want. This is how I feel working here. And this, I mean, this is how I also behave in the end, but I'm not entirely sure if I am managed or not, but this is how I feel. And that's good about working at Pipedrive.
Yeah, and because of all those gatherings, like for me, the people part is so important. That's why I hate working at home. Like, it's so quiet. Everyone in Slack doesn't talk that much, and it's kind of feeling alone.
So people are talking about internship and junior software engineer. Are those two the same thing or no? In the positions, there are only junior software engineers job. Those are not entirely the same. I mean, all in all, both of them are for engineering department. So both of them are the same thing. Basically, it's just like level-wise different. As for internship, we sometimes, I think there even are interns who don't even get paid for being interns in Pipedrive.
That was with university, working with university. They got credits for working at Pipedrive.
Yes, so
I'm not sure it's a separate internship.
What I'm saying is that sometimes there is a differentiation between interns and juniors.
It depends on
But-
the program of the internship.
Yes, but all in all, as you start working already here, it doesn't matter that much, I guess. So
think
as for
level-
applying, just apply for the junior if that's the one that is listed there, and don't bother whether you don't feel like a junior yet.
So the internship program, it's a bit more new, like the open internship program. We've had interns, but it's usually through some program, not like Pipedrive initiated. So this Pipedrive initiated internship program is something we are working on, and it should be not sure if it's already launched or we're launching it. We're
Is the
working.
pay good? There is also one more question. I hope we answered the last one, but is the pay good at Pipedrive? That's really depends. I mean, all in all, this is something that we are also constantly checking and testing the market, like what is if Pipedrive is competitive. And so far, the conclusion is like, not I'm saying so far, it has been different conclusion also, but recently the conclusion was that yes, the pay is good at Pipedrive. But it very much depends on your level. So when you start as a junior, don't expect to get the senior salary.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good, but like for Estonia pay levels, I think in Tartu and in Tallinn they're the same. So from Tartu's perspective, we have better salaries, in a sense. But I think they're competitive. Like we can't say that we have the huge salaries of really fancy, I don't know, startup that has been invested a lot, but we have really stable ones, and there's lots of growth opportunities, and it's possible to grow quite a lot.
And there are many other benefits actually, if I'm starting to think of it.
Yeah.
Like health insurance, dental care,
We can
whatever.
go over them. Yeah, so we have health insurance with IF. So that means if you don't want to wait in line for some doctor, you can pay the visit. It's 1,500 euros in a year. You pay 20% and the 80% is paid by the insurance, and the same with dental. 500 euros is paid for you in a year. I finally went to the dentist, but then Corona started and
No more candies for you.
yeah, it's sad. And then there's glass compensation. Then there's export ID stepping now. We get some budgets to go for some healthy stuff. I don't know, some gyms memberships you can buy with it, or I usually go to the Vespa in Tartu. I went there every month.
Anyways, there are many things good about Pipedrive, and I mean those might not. If you just compare the pay in Pipedrive, it might not be the best maybe on the market, but there are many other things to consider. And
I think it's still in the higher top. Of course, you can find the highest, but it's more than my previous job.
That's good. So, but I see that we are running out of time actually, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you so much for the questions. I appreciate the questions. I also, when I was doing my live coding and whatnot, then I felt that that it was so strange that nobody was commenting or asking any questions. We should have maybe even done it differently.
It's actually the same in our everyday life now. If we do some Zoom calls and you're talking and no one's talking, you feel so alone. So that's the feeling.
So you're saying that you were actually with me?
Yeah, it's our everyday life. You just talk and then everyone listening quietly, not saying anything.
But I guess that's it.
Okay, thanks for joining.
Thank you. Hope you had fun.